Undercover counter-drug operations in Afghanistan. Amid the rugged mountains and war-torn valleys of Afghanistan, where insurgency and opium grew side by side, a shadow war unfolded, one that had nothing to do with Al-Qaeda or the Taliban's ideology. This was a war on drugs, and beneath the surface of military offensives and counter-terrorism raids, Blackwater contractors were quietly deployed in a different kind of mission, to dismantle the narcotics empire funding terrorism. These were not public operations. They were deep, undercover, and dangerous. Afghanistan had become the epicenter of global opium production. Poppy fields stretched for miles, and the revenue from heroin exports fueled insurgent groups, paid for weapons, bribed officials, and allowed the Taliban to recruit and expand. The DEA and other U.S. agencies needed eyes and boots on the ground. But with conventional resources stretched thin and diplomatic sensitivities high, they turned to private contractors to go where others could not. Blackwater, already embedded in Afghanistan through military and security contracts, became a logical choice. Their operatives, many with prior experience in special operations and intelligence work, were deployed into remote provinces under various covers: advisors, trainers, logistics coordinators. In reality, they were there to infiltrate drug networks, map the flow of narcotics funding into militant hands, and assist in covert raids that aimed to cripple the financial backbone of terror cells. These operations involved extensive fieldwork. Blackwater teams worked with local informants, identified key opium production sites, and coordinated with both Afghan special units and U.S. drug enforcement agents. Their role was not just support, it was often operational. Contractors would move into volatile areas ahead of strikes, gather surveillance, plant tracking devices on convoys, and even assist in night raids to seize drug lords or destroy labs. In Kandahar and Helmand, the heart of both Taliban power and poppy cultivation, Blackwater's presence was felt, but rarely seen. Contractors embedded with Afghan forces under joint task operations, creating plausible deniability for missions that skirted legal boundaries and diplomatic agreements. These were zones where the Taliban protected heroin routes more fiercely than villages, and where narco-warfare blurred into counterinsurgency. The risk was enormous. These missions meant facing ambushes, betrayal by local militias, and complex political entanglements where local warlords doubled as government allies and cartel leaders. Contractors had to navigate not only physical danger, but also the shifting loyalties of a fractured land. But the mission remained clear: disrupt the drugs, disrupt the insurgency. Despite the strategic success of some missions, millions in opium seized, major traffickers captured, the operations remained controversial. Critics questioned the legality of using private forces for undercover law enforcement-style missions. Who authorized lethal force? What if operatives were captured or killed? And what rules of engagement applied when working across overlapping jurisdictions of war, law, and covert intelligence? As usual, answers were hard to find. The missions were classified, the contracts were buried, and the men on the ground didn't talk. For Blackwater, this was just another layer of modern warfare, battling not just enemy combatants, but the illicit economies that kept their operations alive. Undercover counter-drug operations in Afghanistan highlighted a brutal truth. In modern conflict zones, war isn't just fought with guns and ideology. It's fought with heroin, corruption, and the global drug trade. And in that murky battlefield, Blackwater moved like a ghost force, disrupting, dismantling, and disappearing before the world could even ask the right questions.